Okay, welcome back to another segment of a Memory of Light read through by your one and only host, Calculator Ferret. Alright, I said it. I've been trying to say that same line for like 5 minutes. You have no idea how hard that can be. Oh my gosh. But anyway, in this segment we're going to finish up chapter 1, and in the next segment I'll start chapter 2. Alright? Alright. So let's do this. Let's get started right into it. Here we go. Fail has been organizing my network of eyes and ears, Perrin said to Rand as the two of them hurried towards Perrin's camp. She might be there of them tonight. I'll warn you, I'm not certain she likes you. She'll be a fool to like me, Rand thought. She probably knows what I'm going to require of you before this is over. Well, Perrin said, I guess that she does like that I know you. She's cousin to a queen, after all. I think she still worries you'll go mad and hurt me. The madness has already come, Rand said, and I have it in my grip. As for hurting you, she's probably right. I don't think I can avoid hurting those around me. It was a hard lesson to learn. You implied that you were mad, Perrin said, hand resting on his hammer again as he walked. He wore it at his side. Large though it was, he'd obviously needed to construct a special sheath for it. An amazing piece of work. Rand kept intending to ask whether it was one of the power-wrought weapons the Ashmen had been making. But Rand, you're not. You don't seem at all crazy to me. Rand smiled, and a thought fluttered at the edge of his mind. I am mad, Perrin. My madness is these memories, these impulses. Lews Therin tried to take over. I was two people, fighting over control of myself, and one of them was completely insane. Light, Perrin whispered. That sounds horrible. It wasn't pleasant. But here's the thing, Perrin. I'm increasingly certain that I needed these memories. Lews Therin was a good man. I was a good man, but things went wrong. I grew too arrogant. I assumed I could do everything myself. I need to remember that. Without the madness, without these memories, I might have gone charging in alone again. So you are going to work with the others? Perrin asked, looking up towards where Egwene and the other members of the White Tower were camped. This looks an awful lot like armies gathering to fight one another. I'll make Egwene see sense, Perrin, Rand said. I am right, Perrin. We need to break the seals. I don't know why she denies this. She's the Amyrlin now, Perrin rubbed his chin. She's watcher of the seals, Rand. It's up to her to make sure they're cared for. It is, which is why I will persuade her that my intentions for them are correct. Are you sure about breaking them, Rand? Perrin asked. Absolutely sure? Tell me, Perrin. If a metal tool or weapon shatters, can you stick it back together and make it work properly? Well, you can, Perrin said. It's better not to. The grain of the steel, well, you're almost always better off reforging it. Melting it down, starting it all over from scratch. It's the same here. The seals are broken, like a sword. We can't just patch the pieces. It won't work. We need to remove the shards and make something new to go in their place. Something better. Rand, Perrin said, that's the most reasonable thing anyone has said in this topic. Have you explained it that way to Egwene? She's not a blacksmith, my friend, Rand smiled. She's smart, Rand. Smarter than either of us. She'll understand if you explain it that way. We shall see, Rand said. Tomorrow. Perrin stopped walking, his face lit by the glow of Rand's power-summoned orb. His camp, beside Rand's, contained a force as large as any on the field. Rand still found it incredible that Perrin had gathered so many, including, of all things, the White Cloaks. Rand's eyes and ears indicated that everyone in Perrin's camp seemed loyal to him. Even the wise ones and Aes Sedai with him were more inclined to do what Perrin said than not. Sure as the wind in the sky, Perrin had become a king. A different kind of king than Rand. A king of his people, who lived among them. Rand couldn't take that same path. Perrin could be a man. Rand had to be something more, for a little time yet. He had to be a symbol, a force that everyone could rely on. That was terribly tiring. Not all of it was physical fatigue, but instead something deeper. Being what people needed was wearing on him, grinding as surely as a river cut at a mountain. In the end, the river would always win. I'll support you in this, Parent. I'll support you in this, Rand, Perrin said. But I want you to promise me that you won't let it come to blows. I won't fight Elaine. Going up against the Aes Sedai would be worse. We can't afford to squabble. There won't be any fighting. Promise me. Perrin's face grew so hard, one could have broken rocks against it. Promise me, Rand. I promise it, my friend. I'll bring us to the last battle united. That'll do, then. Perrin walked into his camp, nodding to the sentries. 2 Rivers men, both of them. Reed Solène and Kurt Wagoner. They saluted Perrin, then eyed Rand and bowed somewhat awkwardly. Reed and Kurt. He'd known them both. He'd looked up to them as a kid. But Rand had grown accustomed to people he'd known treating him as a stranger. He felt the mantle of the Dragon Reborn harden upon him. My Lord Dragon, Kurt said. He gulped and looked at the sky, and the clouds that seemed to be, despite Rand's presence, creeping in on them. Things look bad, don't they? The storms are often bad, Kurt, Rand said, but the 2 Rivers survives them. Such it will do again. But, Kurt said again, it looks bad. Light burned me, but it does. It will be as the wheel wills, Rand said, glancing northward. Peace, Kurt. Reed, Rand said softly. The prophecies have nearly all been fulfilled. This day was seen, and our tests are known. We do not walk into them unaware. He hadn't promised them they would win, or that they would survive, but both men stood up straighter and nodded, smiling. People liked to know that there was a plan. The knowledge that someone was in control might be the strongest comfort that Rand could offer them. That's enough bothering the Lord Dragon of your questions, Perrin said. Make sure you guard this post well. No dozing, Kurt, and no dicing. Both men saluted again as Perrin and Rand passed into the camp. There was more cheer here than there were in the other camps in the field. The campfire seemed faintly brighter, the laughter faintly louder. It was as if the two Rivers folks had managed, somehow, to bring home with them. You lead them well, Rand said softly, moving quickly beside Perrin, who nodded towards those out at night. They shouldn't need me to tell them what to do, and that's that. However, when a messenger came running into camp, Perrin was immediately in charge. He called the spindly youth by name, and seeing the boy's flushed face and trembling legs, he was frightened of Rand. Perrin pulled him aside and spoke softly but firmly of him. Perrin took the boy off to find Lady Fail, then stepped over. I need to talk to Rand again. I need the real Rand, not the man who's learned to talk like an Aes Sedai. Rand sighed. It really is me, Perrin, he protested. I'm more me than I ever was. Yes, well, I don't like talking to you when your emotions are all masked. A group of 2 Rivers men passed and saluted. He felt a sudden spike of cold solitude at seeing those men and knowing he could never be one of them again. It was harsh to the 2 River men, but he did let himself be more relaxed for Perrin's sake. So, what was it, he asked. What did the messenger say? You are right to be worried, Perrin said. Rand, Camelin has fallen. It's overrun of Trollocs. Rand felt his face grow hard. You're not surprised, Perrin said. You're worried, but not surprised. No, I'm not, Rand admitted. I thought it would be the south where they struck. I've heard word of Trolloc sightings there, and I'm half certain that Damodred is involved. He has never been comfortable without an army. But Camelin, yes, it's a clever strike. I told you that they would try to distract us. If they can undercut Andor and draw her away, my alliance grows much shakier. Perrin glanced at where Elaine's camp was set up, right beside that of Egwene. Wouldn't it be good for you if Elaine ran off? She's on the other side of this confrontation. There is no other side, Perrin. There is one side. with a disagreement on how that side should proceed. If Elaine isn't here to be part of the meeting, it will undermine everything I'm trying to accomplish. She's probably the most powerful of all the rulers. Rand could feel her, of course, through the bond. Her spike of alarm let him know that she'd received this information. Should he go to her? Perhaps he could send Min. She had gotten up and was moving away from the tent where he'd left her, and... He blinked. Adviendraha. She was here, at Marilor. She hadn't been here moments ago, had she? Perrin glanced at him, and he didn't bother to wipe the shock from his face. We can't let Elaine leave, Rand said. Not even to protect her homeland? Perrin asked, incredulous. If the Trollocs have already taken Camlin, then it's too late for Egwene to do anything meaningful. Elaine's forces will focus on evacuation. She doesn't need to be there for that, but she does need to be here. Tomorrow morning. How could he make certain she stayed? Elaine reacted poorly to being told what to do. All women did. But if he implied... Rand, Perrin said, what if we sent in the Ashermen? All of them. We can make a fight out of it at Camlin. No, Rand said, though the word hurt. Perrin, if the city really is overrun, I'll send men through gateways to be certain. Then it's lost. Taking back those walls would take far too much effort, at least right now. We cannot let this collision break apart before... we cannot let this coalition break apart before I have a chance to forge it together. Unity will preserve us. If each of us goes running off to put out fires in our homelands, then we will lose. That's what this attack is about. I suppose that's possible, Perrin said, fingering his hammer. The attack might unnerve Elaine, make her more eager to act, Rand said, considering a dozen different lines of action. Perhaps this will make her more vulnerable to agreeing with my plan. This could be a good thing. Perrin frowned. How quickly I've learned to use others. He had learned to laugh again. He had learned to accept his fate, and to charge towards it smiling. He had learned to be at peace with who he had been, what he had done. The understanding would not stop him from using the tools given him. He needed them all. The difference now is that he would see the people they were, not just the tools he would use. So he told himself. I still think we should do something to help Andor, Perrin said, scratching his beard. How did they sneak in, do you think? By Waygate, Rand said absently. Perrin grunted. Well, you said that Trollocs can't travel through gateways. Could they have learned how to fix that? Pray to the light they haven't, Rand said. The only shadow spawn they managed to make that could go through gateways were Golem, and Agenor wasn't foolish enough to make more than a few of those. No, I'd bet against Matt himself that this was the Camlin Waygate. I thought she had the thing guarded. If it was the Waygate, we can't do something, Perrin said. We can't have Trollocs rampaging in Andor. If they leave Camlin, they'll be at our backs, and that will be a disaster. But if they're coming in at a single point, we might be able to disrupt their invasion of attacking that point. Rand grinned. What's so funny? At least I have an excuse for knowing and understanding things no youth from the Two Rivers should. Perrin snorted. Go jump in the wine spring water. You really think this is Damodred? Demodred, sorry. It's exactly the sort of thing he'd try. Separate your foes, then crush them one at a time. It's one of the oldest strategies in warfare. Demodred himself had discovered it in the old writings. They'd thought nothing of war when the Boar had first opened. Oh, they thought they understood it, but it had been the understanding of the scholar looking back on something ancient, dusty. Of all those turned to the shadow, Demodred's betrayal seemed the most tragic. The man could have been a hero. Should have been a hero. I'm to blame for that, Rand thought. If I had offered a hand instead of a smirk, if I had congratulated instead of competed, if I'd have been the man that I am now. Never mind that. He had to send to Elaine. The proper course was to send help for evacuating the city, Ashermen and loyal Aes Sedai to make gateways and free as many people as possible, and to make certain that for now the Trollocs remain in Camlin. Well, I guess those memories of yours are good for something then, Perrin said. Do you want to know the thing that twists my brain in knots, Perrin? Rand said softly. The thing that gives me shivers, like the cold breath of the shadow itself. The taint is what made me mad, and what gives me memories from my past life. It came as loose Theron whispering to me, but the very insanity is the thing giving me the clues I need to win. Don't you see? If I win this, it will be the taint itself that led to the Dark One's fall. Perrin whistled softly. Redemption, Rand thought. When I tried this last time, my madness destroyed us. This time, it will save us. Go to your wife, Perrin, Rand said, glancing at the sky. This is the last night of anything resembling peace you shall know before the end. I'll investigate and see how bad things are in Andor. He looked back at his friend. I will not forget my promise. Unity must come before all else. I lost last time precisely because I threw unity aside. Perrin nodded, then rested a hand on Rand's shoulder. The light illuminate you. And you, my friend.